Oh, wow. We're recorded. It's hard for me to speak because my whole body is bathed in bliss. And it's hard for me to take my attention off of how I'm feeling the bliss in order to speak with you. And besides that, we have a problem about where am I in satsang? The camera is photographing something else. Let me see. I don't know how this iPad works, so just bear with me. Shut your eyes and it's really hard to speak. Because my whole body is bathed in bliss. And it's very distracting. It's grabbed me totally. And all that I do is be still and continue to watch it or to experience it. Can't see it. And I wonder how many people out there wanted to be bathed in peace and bliss. I guess we all say we would, but actually we're conditioned to believe that spirituality is equivalent to knowledge of God, knowledge of Christ, knowledge of the Bible, knowledge of Buddha's sayings, but it's not. Freedom is the disappearance of the external world of phenomena and resting forever in that which is beyond consciousness. All of consciousness itself is limited by space and time. Even when you speak of the totality, it's only a limited totality of what we can see, hear, or touch. But if you can imagine what it's like to have a very low current of electricity running throughout your whole body, and when I experience my body, it's like being in a cloud of bliss, of complete, utter indifference to the world. And even be removed from the desire to continue to exist. It means nothing. Will this extraordinary peace and bliss that I feel remain after the physical death of my body? I doubt it. But the thing is, The witness cannot be found. It's a concept. When you rest in your own body, the external world might disappear for all intents and purposes. But when you rest in the self, even the body disappears, except as an instrument, useful for seeing things and talking. But I'm so fucking happy. I could die and it'd be completely okay with me. But back to my job as being a teacher. Can you imagine finding complete happiness, being as you are, wherever you are, with whoever you are? A complete sense of contentment and absorption into the unknown, which is extremely blissful. When we're awake and we're in the world, we're sort of caught in a trap of phenomena. We have our jobs, we have our family, we have our loves, our collections of things and money. But also, there's a sense of pressure of being alive and functioning in civilization. But what if all of that was taken care of? Now you're free to do anything. Don't worry about what's for lunch or dinner, or whether the cancer you have will kill you before next April. It's besides the point. Your primary identity is not of this earth. It's beyond mind. You're beyond spirit because spirit moves temporarily. And as some put it, you become the witness, that which resides somewhere and witnesses all of this. And that's bullshit. Those are just words. All that I can say is how I feel now with the quiet and still energy within makes me experience myself as a mountain of peacefulness, of steadiness, of divinity. And the world is a defilement of that. The world is the plaything. We fuck around for a while, have all kinds of desires, all kinds of goals. And none of it makes any difference. In the end, you're dead. And the world is pretty much the one that you were born into. The only difference is now you're dead. And you're still, and you're untouched by death too. Because you're not of this body. You're not physical. Somewhere in space and time, or outside of space and time, is more real. You exist as the seer and the experiencer. And meditation teaches you to slow down so much and to be absorbed into the vastness of your inner world that you don't want to return to the world of conscious living as a human body. And when you do come back, you can wait till you have some still time to meditate again into yourself, to withdraw your energies normally extended in the outside world, listening and watching and doing, and instead focus all of those observational energies quietly when they're not moving anymore and they're just resting into your own sense of self, which is vast like space. Untouched by death. Even untouched by the sounds outside, be they yelling and screaming, or be it a thunderstorm. None of it affects you. Just like the things that you can feel inside your own body and existence don't touch you, you observe them. That's why there's so many depictions of this inner world. Is an envisioning of the I. And I is there too. I spelled capital I. And I spelled E-Y. How is I spelled? E-Y-E? E-Y-H? E-Y? I don't know. But this world, this physical world, is a bad joke. It's filled with sound and fury, signifying nothing. Some call it an escape into nothingness. I call it a discovering of nothingness and abiding there because it's the happiest place you'll ever know. Not happy like when you win $100,000 in Las Vegas, because that's kind of a laughter thing. It involves your chest and your breathing. And it's an elevated thing. You're up. It's like you're a performer, a very powerful performer in the world. While in this place, you've escaped the claws of death and of endless work and cycles of knowing and not knowing. Imagine if you were beyond the world, no longer its prisoner, no longer wearing handcuffs of a job. But you just be. And that being is extremely, extremely peaceful. It's unlike the peace anybody knows in their youth or even in their so-called creative years. Because it's an absolute peace. It pervades everything that you are and that you can perceive. Resting in yourself. The key is learning how to do that. And I do it by, in imagination at first, it feels like you're turning around inside and facing yourself belly to belly and looking within to see what you can see. And naturally, looking within to your head doesn't reveal much, except your inability to do it. But there arises the sense that you really are doing it. Instead of being outwardly oriented, you become inwardly oriented towards the spaciousness, the peace, and that incredible bliss that seems to pervade every cell of my body. And bliss is the wrong word. It's more like, I don't know how to say it. What is it like? There's no real analogy in everyday life, except that it's vast and it's all alive. It will all die, but I won't be touched because I don't identify with the world now. I don't identify with my body. So what I am is beyond body. Beyond physicality, beyond the world. Robert used to say that life on earth, of being a human being here in the United States or anywhere in the world, was the lowest and the deepest hell compared with what you experience as yourself in the world after enlightenment. I spent quite a long time, by my standards, preparing for Satsang today. And during that time, I came up with the theme for Satsang that I would talk about. But now that I'm here, I really have nothing to say about it. All that I can say is the world is a hellhole with clowns like Trump screwing up everything and bearing through the world, screaming his name and how important he is, when we all know he's a buffoon. The real heroes of our time, or of all times, is the person that points out that when you die, you don't die. You witness death in others and in your own self. But the witness itself is not dying. It doesn't feel like it's dying. But oh my God, the state of happiness when you realize your real position is not that of being a human being caught in marital conflict or needing to work 60 hours a week in order to buy your motorboat and your homes. Imagine yourself being free of the demands made of your everyday attention. Television has captured the whole world, and we live vicariously. But it's a lot like everyday life would be. It's just busy work, finding something to do because your history. Oh shit, I'm cold. I don't know what happened to the thermometer. I'm gonna have to check that. But I'm so happy when I turn my attention to the inside. The darkness is lit, and it seems as if I can see throughout the body, my fingers and my toes, my gut, my chest, my legs, my knees, all of it. And it's all just completely rested. Or it identifies with this guy who's talking, who'd rather be doing almost anything else because it's impossible to convey the feeling of freedom you have when the world no longer is your concern to be taken care of. I was with Robert for 8 years. I was more or less his right-hand man. I set up things for Satsang and having music before and after, as well as doing the public relations. But there was no happiness there. It was ego. Robert saw this. And often we'd go out to lunch at Follow Your Heart in the valley. I would pick him up. I don't know whether it was 11 or noon. And we'd go to that park in, wherever the name of that street is, Topanga Boulevard. when it goes up into town, away from the valley. And I would feel a kind of excitement doing that because Robert was so very still. He didn't talk out of hand. And yet, he spent Thursdays and Sundays speaking to us about the peace that lies beyond this mortal world. There was no charge for satsang. But we all knew that he needed money, and we donated appropriately. Remember, this was 30 years ago. Maybe more. And I would watch him every moment, both during lunch, when I got to see him one day a week, or at satsang. I became his right-hand man, so to speak. He relied on me. He very much wanted me to come with him to Sedona. But I couldn't because I had my duties in Los Angeles, which included feeding the feral cats along the seacoast at Pacific Palisades, Santa Monica, etc. And they depended on me. Every day I would go to the beach to see my kitties out there, worry about them. I took quite a few home. And then one day I finally got the last cat rescued from a park in Santa Monica. And I was free of that task, which had occupied my attention for years, the plight of feral cats. And it was felt so good to be past that time every day when I had to feed them amidst all of the displeasure of the people whose area I was invading, so to speak, and putting food out. They had the police, the mayor, and some others come after me. Until the city attorney realized I had been visiting that park in Santa Monica for over a dozen years. And then she said, you know, he's a resident and a citizen of Santa Monica. And the harassment stopped. And I continued feeding the cats until the last one I took, who has now died. Do I have a picture of him here? No. I can really say the only thing that differentiates spiritual life is becoming indifferent to the human life, including the life of your own body. Right now, my body is empty. I have learned how to, using the visual sense, and direct that visual sense, not the eyes, but the visual sense, the functioning of vision, and to turn that within. And gradually, over a period of a couple of years, my attention finally got to the place that included everything was in my awareness. My body was empty like a balloon. But like the air, I was there within the body, and outside the body it was all one, not two. Life and death were one and two. That was unified into a oneness. There's such unbelievable peace that I feel now. A perfect kind of happiness where nothing bothers or disturbs me. Well, I guess it would disturb me if I were living in a place where somebody beat me to death every day. I wouldn't look forward to the pain I would be feeling. And I know most of you feel that way yourselves. Maybe the sense of the burden of your responsibilities can become almost too much, and you pray to God to take them away, and they do. The people you love and want to preserve, the cats and dogs you love and want to preserve, they all die. Each and every one, just like you. You're going to die, you know it. Although you may cling to some ideas of an afterlife or life beyond death, it's not quite like that. Without a body, I wouldn't know that I existed. Even being aware of the world as a totality doesn't mean that that world should touch me. I'm no longer of this world. And the great teachers are not either. They're trying to teach you about what is that which is before and after your own private consciousness, your own existence. I rest now in my own self. And that self is the same one that you can begin to see. And it's not a real seeing, it's like a sight-related phenomena of being aware and having that attention begin to occupy my body, starting at the top of my head, moving through my brain and into my face, down the neck and into the heart, spending a lot of time there and sinking to my tailbone and legs. I call it the life force. I don't know what to call it. The sensation of being alive and being here, being present. But that's present physically. But the sense of presence doesn't depend on the experience of external world or even of your own body. And thus you can say, if you die before you die, when you die, you won't die. Chew on that for a decade. If you die before you die, when you do die, you won't die. In a sense, you're already removed from the world. Your attention doesn't dwell there anymore. The need to grow mentally, the need to pursue money, the need to figure out who's who in politics and joining a party of another one or the other of them. This place, as Robert put it in his last few hours of birth or of being alive, he just repeated over and over again, freedom, 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 freedom. And then he passed away in bed, surrounded by people, his students and his wife, maybe the 2 daughters. But I will always remember the Thursdays we spent together, where I would take him to lunch. I'd follow your heart. A little restaurant and bookstore, spiritual bookstore. I forget what city it was. I know it's Topanga Canyon is the part of it that descended down to the ocean. But went into the valley, I don't know what the name was. I forgot the name of where Robert lived. I used to go to his apartment after he died and spend there for, then go over to the park, which just was a block away. There's a canopy of huge trees throughout the park with little place to play baseball. But mostly we just sit on benches and talk. Then go to follow your heart for lunch every Thursday for 8 years, I believe. I'll tell you, back then, I had no idea what Robert was really talking about. I had no idea. I could repeat them and pretend they were my own. But I really didn't understand the peace he felt. To live his existence, it didn't matter to him whether he was alive or dead. So, most of us practiced being in nothingness. But how can you really practice being nothing? The close you can become is to have your attention centered on a sweep you do with your consciousness, starting at your toes and becoming aware of your knees and your thighs, your hips, stomach, chest, head, and then finding the top of the head. And then you're free of that, the consciousness, awareness of itself. And then you're just resting in happiness for a few hours. For me, it meant driving home and going immediately to bed because I couldn't remain consciousness anymore. I needed to absorb that experience of being in pure emptiness relationship with Robert. And a lot of my students felt that too. They tell me that after Satsang, they had to go to bed and sleep for 4 or 5 hours. I think that is a sign that you're withdrawing energy used towards the maintenance of your body. To some other state more perfect and pure, and which remains unknown. It may be unknowable. Because all that I feel now, with my eyes closed like this, is to experience my body being ethereal and empty and conscious like a ghostness of my own physical body. But it's hollow. Air can blow right through it. Oh my God. You wouldn't believe how wonderful it feels to be free of your body and the duties in the world. It's complete peace, complete energy. Energy's like you never knew you had. And the only thing you want to do is to talk about your present awareness of yourself and of the world. And you automatically become a teacher because you're not interested in the other things that people do. You want to teach them the way towards freedom from the world and to fill your life with happiness. And maybe a little bliss. I've talked now for, I don't know, holy shit, going on an hour. And I haven't done anything except be absorbed in my own sense of being present in this world as a body. And also aware of the existence beyond this house. I can hear airplanes and traffic and people, but I'm not there anymore, attention-wise, energy-wise. And once that happened, the world supported me. Things just fell into place. It was quite a transition to not be worried about the world anymore, or survival in the world. Maybe some of you can't even wait to get out, but you want to know that there's a way, a method, and that you're not the body, so when the body dies, you're not concerned. And even when you know you're going to die, you're not concerned about the death of the body because you feel yourself as being beyond the body, beyond the mind. So you even aren't sentience. Instead, you are the great unknown with the capital U, unknown, unbeing. Okay, this has probably been a pretty heavy talk for some of you. Does anybody have any questions?
Gee, it's Michael T.
I knew you would do it. What do you want to ask?
Um, when you're feeling the bliss now as you speak during the satsang, are you feeling it more within consciousness in
What?
stillness? Are you feeling the bliss while in the state of into in consciousness? Or are you feeling it more from the noumenal and from nothingness? Or is it both?
Say it again slowly.
When you feel the bliss as we speak now, is it coming more from being in consciousness, or is it coming from the noumenal or from nothingness?
Uh, I don't know. I'll have to ask it tonight. Where are you from? Anything I would say would just be speculation about life and death. I can only speak that I feel complete, I feel happiness I feel a lot of bliss. So it's kind of an identification with the body and with the mind. And at the same time, it's a disidentification. And sometimes I feel energies moving through me in certain patterns. And I can't really say that's me, those energies moving through my body or what I feel. It's more a transcendence of the world. You are no longer part of it. You are no longer chained to doing something in the world.
Would it be safe to say that you're at the level where you're actually, where the consciousness is actually merging with nothingness and it's all happening at once?
Something like that.
Okay.
But where the happiness comes from, I don't know. But it's there once I'm totally still. And that's why Zen students typically spend hours every day in motionless sitting and going into that emptiness inside of oneself until it's a close friend and eventually becomes everything to you. The body is nothingness. Emptiness is everywhere, always. Your body's limited and it dies. Emptiness, not so much. Even consciousness, we would say, is limited. So it's even beyond consciousness, although it's experienced within one's own consciousness. It's a hard subject to define and talk about it.
It's amazing.
Hey, Ed, Adam, can you hear me?
Yes.
I wanted to ask a question. You talked today again about kind of turning your vision sense from the external world to your insides.
Uh-huh.
And you've talked about this before, and it's a technique I've never, sorry, planes. I've never really been able to master this technique yet. Whenever I try it, it seems to
What
kind of make me
technique?
dizzy. It seems like turning your vision in your imagination
Yes.
towards your internal
It's
body.
hard. It's difficult. I started by crossing my eyes and attempted in my darkness to look within my head. So it can't be a real looking because my eyes didn't turn around. They just came together like. But after a while, I realized even though it felt like the visual sense, it wasn't tied to the eyes, that kind of vision. It's like a spiritual vision, which mimics some of the revelations that actual light and phenomena bring to you. It's going beyond all phenomena. The phenomena disappear, leaving you alone and in peace with no tasks to complete anymore, nothing to do. I don't even have to feed my deer. I love those links you send to me about where you live and all of the deer around there. You must have a hard time with deer hunters.
Well, it's actually in a more or less suburban neighborhood. It's just a unique neighborhood that's pretty quiet with a lot of space and a lot of wildlife. So most people, I don't even know if it's legal to hunt them right there, but most people leave them alone. Actually, most people treat them well, feed them like I do, some of them. It's really weird. The deer are more tame than the dogs in the neighborhood. It's very unique, but I love it.
I do too. I love looking at it and seeing all the deers around you, like you were their teacher. You were the chosen one.
I think it's the other way around.
I know. I know.
Okay. Well, thank you. Going back to the internal vision question, would it be safe to say that it might be kind of a related to your third eye vision, or that even beyond that?
Uh, third eye is still bound to physicality, but what I am talking about is no physical basis. It seems to be centered in the body, somewhere inside the space of the body, but I'd say the truth is it's related to the experience of emptiness everywhere. And that emptiness learns to begin to pervade one's own brain and one's own perception of your body until everything is just emptiness. And with it brings a great peace, because life and death both are transcendent. That's at least my understanding. It's put in words, but really I don't care that much anymore about the teachings, because I don't need them, nor can I really see the truth in them anymore, because I'm just pinned to my body with a lot of attention. No tension though, no pain. Just a light touch of awareness about everything everywhere. It's unexplainable. I've never been able to really explain it, but you read those texts about the movement of the Kundalini energy, and what I experience is somewhat related to the Kundalini experience, because for years I felt the energies arising in the base of my spine for years, and then it became trapped around the heart, and it must have been there for 3 years, and then it moved upwards into my head in not too long of a period of time, and seemed to swirl around in my brain pan for a while, and then it began making the return trip down my face and into my chest and into my aura, the gut area. And then it was completed. The work that was done by Kundalini was completed, and I felt every step of it for years. So it's both physical and non-physical. Physical in the sense that it was feelable, perceivable, but it was nothing of this world. I hope that's clear, because it's not clear to me. I can't find
Well,
the words. I can't find the words for what the process is. I can only act to trap you in those words into the model I'm talking about, trying to make it sound okay for the average person. it's not going to bite you in the ass if you continue to do it. But it's the hardest part is learning how to see the light within. And that itself is a play on words. What you see is sort of like a light. And it feels like a light to a certain extent. And it's in my head. Yeah, I felt it in my skull and in my face. And it dropped to my chest. But it started in my butt area. And the whole process took 15, 20 years. And it accelerated with Robert. That's when the energy was trapped in my heart. And it hurt like hell in my back, the center of my back. It's very painful. And then when it moving through my upper spine, it was hard. It was like hard work was being done, but I didn't feel it as much. Then when it made it into the brain, it was all fun. And when it went down the front of my body, that was fun. The fun began when the energy touched my brain and started swirling around inside there. So you sort of sit in front of a wall, maybe with a candle, and you cross your eyes and pretend you've crossed them all the way around and you're looking within as if there's something to see. And there it is. It's the light of consciousness. And you expand that light of consciousness slowly, becomes your whole body, and then everything beyond the body. And the external light and the internal light merge to oneness. I hope somebody recorded this satsang. Does anybody have a copy of the last week's satsang also? That was one of my best that I felt. Any other?
Yeah, Chris, did you post that one last week already? I think you did.
I did. I posted the video is on YouTube and the transcript is on our Facebook. And I'm recording this one right now.
Okay. So where can you find it on the internet?
Yes, would you like me to send you the link to these things to it?
Yes.
All right. I'll do so after we're done here.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Ed. Thanks for the explanation. I've had that question for a while, so it's very helpful. I'll keep at it.
You're good. You know, we're going to turn.
I'm gonna have to get back.
We're going to turn your house into an ashram. And everybody will.
I would love that.
Feed your deer.
That would be great. Once I actually own the house, that'll be my first task. Mm-hmm.
What part of Texas?
That'd be awesome. Austin?
Austin? Is that?
Yes.
That's in the western part of the state, right? Central West?
It's more central east.
Oh, okay.
Kind of halfway between Dallas and Houston, sort of.
Okay. I remember the times that I was there. That was like 50 years ago when I was there, and seeing all the people who carried guns openly in holsters, people that weren't in law enforcement were just walking along with a 6-shooter strapped to their hips. I thought it was pretty funny because I had my own gun, but I didn't bring it out in the open.
Yeah, Texas is a very unique place, to say the least. Especially after growing up in LA. Quite a change, but I like it.
Good. Any other questions?
I'm gonna have to go here soon, get back to work. But thanks, Ed, and thanks
Okay.
everybody. It's been great being here.
Okay. Good seeing you.
Actually, let's follow up. When you awakened Kundalini, did you seem like you were very lucky because you had a control awakening. I've heard so many cases of people when it enters the brain suffer disassociation and all kinds of other side effects because they didn't have a teacher properly supervising them. Did you have a real subtle awakening, or were you supervised, or did you just get the knack of controlling the energy flow?
I've been reading spiritual books all my life, and so when the Kundalini experiences started, they didn't bother me. I welcomed them because I finally had some proof that something was positive was happening to me, and it never frightened me at all. It was just hard to put up with the pain in my back. But once it reached the head and my brain, there was no more pain. But when it went to the middle of my back, that's where it stuck so long and was kind of painful. Sometimes it was just really painful. It felt like a sharpened pencil was being pushed up the right channel of my spine. And I could feel each channel separately, the ascending and the descending, just like the books talk about. But I didn't know that at the time. In detail, I just knew that as a theory. So I borrowed that theory to talk about it. This is as close as you can come. Can you imagine
Um,
yourself being in complete darkness and having some kind of energy enter the room and then hit you? And for years, whenever you went to sleep, you would feel that pain again somewhere in your body as it was borrowing new channel through your whole beingness. I don't like talking about it because I forgot all about it.
yeah, I knew somebody where the Kundalini, once it got to his head, it busted into his brain like a dam busting, and the
Say
next
that
thing you
again.
know, the Kundalini energy busted into his brain like a dam bursting. So he had a surge of that energy going to his head, and then he couldn't differentiate in consciousness what was happening versus what was happening inside his head, that things were going so fast that he started disassociating cars on the freeway with what was going on in his head. And he had all these symptoms of, he wasn't psychopathic, but because of the energy going into his head, he didn't think he was going to make it. He thought, he went to the emergency room and they said nothing was wrong with him. They gave him a bunch of sedatives because they couldn't understand what was going on, other than thinking the guy was crazy, which he was not. And eventually, after a couple of weeks, he wrote it out like a drug trip. But there's a clinic in the Bay Area for people who've opened the Kundalini, and they didn't have proper supervision. So
Can
it's
you
real
send me a
nice to
link
know.
to information about that hospital?
Okay, I'll try to find it. I found this out through a bunch of people who did qigong, because while it's not the same training as the the Indians, they open up energy channels and inadvertently open up the Kundalini, and they just have another name for it. But I don't know I'll get the Chinese phrase for it for you, but there's a saying in the Chinese Qigong energy work field that if you draw too much energy and not balance it, like you say, in the gut area, because what you say about the gut area is so true. It anchors your energy and stabilizes it. You always mention the gut area. Some of these folks don't have that. They don't put the work into grounding themselves. So the energy just shoots into their brains and some don't recover from it.
Interesting. It's interesting. You go fucking nuts. You don't get the good side, you just get the terror side.
It's actually scary to know that the universe has all that energy, and if you put your finger into the socket without grounding yourself properly, you could just totally lose yourself.
That's interesting too, because when I was a kid, 8, 9, 10 years old, I used to stick my finger into light bulb sockets in order to feel the current. God, does that hurt too? Is the person called Michael Kajawa, or some other Michael? Anyway.
What about him?
Okay. I'll see you next week. And I have a website. I forget where it's called, but I review certain books in there and suggest books to read. Look up We Are Sentience is the name of my website. We Are Sentience. WEARE Sentience. SENTINCE, I think. Anyway, enjoy yourself. Enjoy the week. Be happy. Be happy. Bye-bye.